Today, we're back for Different Kind of Genius. I'm the host, Andre Kufe. We're here again, but today I got something special for us all. Today, I've got Nate, aka Jerry Seinfeld, one of the co-owners of Ichpig. Nate, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, man.
You good? You good?
Yeah,
Just
sweet.
Mate, thank you so much for coming down. I get it was a bit of a drive, and I've known you for a minute. I didn't think you were coming down.
Nah, I'm happy to. It's easy.
Man, I couldn't thank you anymore. And then just because it's a sad day today, we did lose a brother in LA over some unfortunate events, and he was a big person within the black community, and he was doing all the right things. Nipsey Hussle, it's a shame we had to lose you so soon. It's a shame we had to lose you to some horrible reasons. But for all his friends and family, stay safe and one love. But back to this. Nate.
What's up?
So, I already said it. You're a co-owner of Ichpig.
That's right.
What does that mean? What is Ichpig?
Ichpig. Well, obviously, literally, it's a clothing brand.
Yep.
We make it in Melbourne. I own it with my brother, Alex. He's my younger brother, but he's taller than me, so that sucks. But that's
happens, bro.
That's kind of how it goes down. And I guess it's been going for 9 years. We started in Japan when we were on a snowboard trip together. I used to be a snowboard instructor, and Alex was kind of there with me, just like being a bum. Somehow,
So he just went for the journey.
Oh fuck, Jesus Christ! I hooked this up with this mad gig in Japan. Like it was full on like inclusive board, free lift pass, and I was the instructor. And somehow Alex got hooked up with the free lift pass and the really cheap rent and all this shit, but he wasn't an instructor.
So it was like a staff member, got all the benefits, but wasn't actually a staff
Didn't
member.
do anything.
Oh, bro, that's
the
funny.
whole season.
That's funny.
He just rode power the whole season, and I would basically try and sack off every single lesson that came my way just so I could ride power with him. It was so funny. Like it was fucked. Anyway, somehow he managed to
Weasley his way through.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that. He's pretty clever.
Nice. So wait, so you were in Japan together, and then what brought you back?
Well, we were only ever going to be over there for a season. And so what I used to do was I was doing industrial design at university. So every semester break, like over Christmas, I would basically pick a country to go snowboard in and be an instructor, and that's how I'd get the lift pass for free, get the cheap accommodation, and just do it for 3 or 4 months. And then I'd come back and just go back to university again.
That's actually smart. Like, that's a perfect balance. Like, university's not, like, it's hard. Like, you can grind out for that long, you get burnt out. But having that goal at the end of it, like, bro, that's sick.
Yeah, it was fun. I really liked it. I really liked snowboarding, and I was really into it, and I was, pretty handy at it. And, I guess I was always going to, and I always wanted to start a snowboarding company. That's why I did industrial design, because I wanted to do like snow products, boards, outerwear, goggles. I was fascinated with goggles. And that's kind of why I did it. And that's why I was there.
True. So just to be sure, did you finish studying?
I did.
So like you got that done?
No, I did.
Yeah.
I promised my old man that I'd do it.
Yeah.
So Alex was doing, he got into the VCA, so Victorian College of the Arts, which is...
Oh, word. That's some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, so he was an oil painter, did fine arts there, so... that's like, I think it's like one of 20 or something like that out of, I think we said it was maybe 3,000 applicants or something crazy like that. So
because it's one of the specialized colleges.
It's one of the proper ones that, you really want to get into. But I was doing industrial design. I ended up getting into the honors program. I worked at this, it's funny, I was just saying this to this parent of one of our new staff members, how I got into this company doing industry-based learning. It was like an animatronics company. They made like robotic animals and stuff.
Oh, word.
I'm not sure if you saw, they had that How to Train Your Dragon live theater show and the Walking with Dinosaurs one as well. There's like
was that them?
Yeah. So I worked for the company that made those dinosaurs and the big robots.
Yeah.
I was working for them like as an intern, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was doing that like 20 to 30 hours a week. I was doing uni 20 hours a week, which was my honors.
Yeah.
Because I got into the honors program, and then I was doing Ichpig 20 hours a week as well.
And so that was the start. So that was pretty much 9 years ago.
Yeah, that was 9 years ago. So that was the summer of 2000. So Ichpig started in 2019, 2010, that
Yep.
winter,
Yep.
because obviously we're in Northern Hemisphere.
True.
So, and then 2010, I came back. I was doing the industrial design, and Ichpig kind of started. We started, sewing up jumpers, mucking around. I remember like we went to Dimmies and stuff, kind of got some jumpers and shit, fucked around with them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
take us there. So what did the start really look like? So were you hustling hard at Dimmies the whole time, or did you have somewhere else?
So the way it all started was I was in Japan with Alex,
Yep.
and there was this snowboard instructor there called Laura, and she was knitting all these beanies for people, crocheting them or whatever, right?
True.
So she taught me how to crochet them because I was really interested in it, and I slowly learned how to do it or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I could make these mangled beanies. They were shocking. Anyway, the one thing I learnt was as I kind of started getting okay at them, the instructors would come up to me and say, "Well, can you make me one? Can you make me one?" And Laura was charging I think it was like $40 a pop for these beanies.
That's not bad on a mountain though.
Yeah, it's
they
pretty
charge
good.
$12 for a beer. It's like $40 for a
and they're
beanie.
handmade and shit. But
Yeah.
I basically just said, "Oh fuck it, I'll make it for you for free. Don't worry about it," But the one thing I noticed was people really like picking their colors.
Oh.
So they would say, this, and I would suggest this. And I remember because I was getting the supplies from the local supermarket. That's only in Japan, right?
Only on the mountaintop.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
else are you going to go?
So every kind of week they'd bring out a new color. So I'd be excited to get this new yarn or whatever.
True.
And different thickness, and I'd try a different hook because there's all these different hooks that make different sizes and shit. It's funny thinking about it. I haven't thought about this in 9 years, I'm going through it all in my head. So yeah, and then I kind of realized people like this picking the color thing, and I don't know. I said to Alex, I don't even know how it started. I just remember saying to him maybe we could do something with this, or maybe we could. I don't know. It's weird. And then one of the other instructors showed us how to make tall jumpers, make them taller. So basically, what you did was you got a jumper, you
Yep.
sliced it in half, and then you made a tube, and you sewed the tube in to make the jumper longer.
Okay.
And so then,
Wait, it's just real quick. Is that how most of the staple snowboard hoodies are made?
this was just kind of
Yep.
DIY, us
Yep.
kind of just
Figuring it out for yourselves?
figuring it out ourselves, kind of, because 9 years ago, tall clothing wasn't really around. It was, you went to Foot Locker and that was it. And Foot
That was
Locker's
just a tall
okay.
tee too.
Yeah, it's just a tall tee. Foot Locker's okay, but the quality is pretty meh, right? So
They're commercialized. They just pump it out.
yeah, the T twists, blah blah blah. So, anyways, we kind of said, well, why don't we try and start something? And I remember Alex came up with this sketch called, and we were going to call the brand or the company or whatever it was at that stage, One Pig. And it was kind of it was weird how it was about kind of, you pick what you want. It's about you not worrying about everyone else and kind of, I don't know, I guess sticking to your style and no one else. But because we were in Japan, I said, well, let's call it Ichpig because, itch is one in Japanese.
Yep.
So I still have the drawing in the office, actually, of the One Pig sketch. It's pretty wild. So anyways, we came back to Melbourne after the end of the trip. It all went well. And then we started mucking around with trying to, customize these garments. And I was still mucking around with making beanies and shit. We were trying to muck around with the logo and trying to figure it all out. And then Alex kind of learned how to sew. Mum taught him and one of his friends.
Yep.
And then eventually, I feel like after a while, after we kind of figured it all out, he managed to show me, and then I kind of got okay at it.
At sewing?
At sewing, yeah.
True.
And we were just overlocking, we were just kind of overlocking these little samples up. So then what was next was we had to get a stock line. And then before that, we basically decided to purchase Mum's garage, clean it all out. We paid her $500 or something.
Yeah.
And it was just a garage space, kind of
But
much
it was-
like this,
Now it's your space though.
Yeah, it was
Your
our,
space.
it was our space. We kind of made it our own. We paid Mum $500. We got rid of all the shit. We managed to score, I think her old sewing machine. And then we just started kind of mucking around with things. And then once we had the HQ, we realized, well, now it's time to get a stock line. So, and we wanted to do this custom thing, you know, like we were really into the colorways. You know,
Yeah.
you could pick your colorways.
That was important for you guys.
Yeah. You know, like no one was kind of doing that. And then Alex knew of a manufacturer on Smith Street making stuff here. And I remember we went in there, we had a look at what he had and had a whole bunch of discontinued stuff. They were getting rid of it or whatever, selling these crew neck jumpers at like, I think it was like $8 or $9 a pop. You know, like they were
and then like locally made as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
He was just trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And we bought a couple of them. We brought them back, and we started mucking around with this tubing thing, and we got okay at it. So then we went back to the manufacturer with pretty much all our savings. I remember I was telling this story to someone the other day, how I was literally walking down Smith Street with a roll of $1,000 in my hand. I was probably 21 at the time. This was all the money I had.
Yeah.
And I remember walking down Smith Street, like from the bottom end where that Combank used to be next to the Coles.
Oh, true.
And I walked all the way up to the top end of Smith Street with this $1,000 in my hand. I was clinging it so fucking
I was going to say, you're only $1,000. You got it pressed to you.
Fucking in my pocket so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And just remember looking at people just looking at me. And anyway, I got there and I said, you know, all right, I'm going to spend this $1,000 on all this stock. And I went through and picked it all out and we took it away. And yeah, that was our stockpile for the next little bit. And we started chopping and changing. We made some for our friends. I remember we made a big batch of pre-made ones.
Wait, pre-made what?
Like pre-made hoods, they were like crews, yeah?
Yeah.
So we didn't actually know how to make hoodies at this stage.
You were just figuring it out.
We were just making crews.
Okay.
Like without the hood. We didn't know how to do that because that's what we bought. They were these pre-made crews.
Yeah.
And then we just make them longer with the customization thing. So then Alex and I were obviously really big snowboarders. So that by the time this had all happened, the snow season in Australia had rolled around.
Oh, okay.
And I remember we'd always go on these family trips for 7 days at a time of the year or whatever, right? And I remember we went up with a bag, like a garbage bag full of these crews. And I remember, and this guy we still talk to, he's actually helping us. This guy's actually ended up as the global merch manager at RM Williams. This guy called Dan.
Snap, that's a good fellow to know too.
Yeah. So he helped us sell these fucking jumpers to all the snowboard instructors and all the crew and staff.
Out of your garbage bag.
That lived at Falls. We had this garbage bag. I remember walking from the other side of Falls all the way over to Nissan, which is where the staff are. And we were trying to sell these. And then people were saying, wow, can you make this one more? Because we can make them to order, right?
Oh,
and
true.
people started picking them.
Yeah.
So then we took some orders. We sold a couple or whatever it was. And then we started making them. And then like it just started growing and growing. And then sure enough, you know, like this was also when Facebook was wide open, right?
Yeah.
So like we'd make these hoods and another thing that we were doing was because we were kind of it was always about the garments, right? It was all about what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about us. So whenever we'd photo the garments and put them up on Facebook, we'd always be wearing these balaclavas.
I remember that.
Yeah, so the balaclavas, we got kind of famous for this stuff, right? And like whenever people would come to the workshop, we'd wear balaclavas, whatever. It was always, no one knew who we were.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was important too. Just like, I hate to interrupt you there, but it was perfect because it was like your clothing was designed not for a specific person.
No.
And then for me, that's what made me gravitate so hard was because you were making taller clothes.
Yeah.
It was almost like you were catering them for black people without directly catering them for black people. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm jumping on this. These are finally clothes that perfectly fit. And the whole balaclava over the face, it just meant the person wasn't identified.
Yeah.
So it just meant that I could buy that hoodie and almost make it my own because I had seen no one else doing that.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was. And like, it was just weird. It was funny how like eventually, because of Facebook and how it was, you know, you'd post these images of us wearing these hoodies, this person's hood in a balaclava, and then you tag him in it, and you just get all these comments. It'd just be crazy. Like, it'd just go, and then we realized that, you know, we kind of started auctioning them. True. So we'd put one up, we'd say first person to buy it gets it, and it's just like go, and it'd just explode. It'd take off. It was nuts, and it was like that kind of engagement you obviously just can't get anymore.
You can't buy it, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, you can't get that kind of engagement anymore unless, you know, you've some chick, you know, flaunting.
I get you. You're showing it for everyone to see.
Yeah, like it just doesn't work like that anymore. So
but
that
was
was
at the same time. it only like even back then it didn't work for everyone. It only worked for certain people then.
Yeah.
Because you were like your own thing, and almost because you auctioned it off, like it created that demand.
Yeah.
Like people saw it's like, wow, he posted this jumper. It got picked up in 2 minutes. I really like that jumper. Now I've got no chance of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes that like, so that person then sits there and they're like, oh, I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah. So and that's what, and it kind of, it's funny how that, people kind of learnt that in the end. It was kind of like, like, I can't miss out on the next one. I've got to make sure I get it or whatever. So eventually we kind of sold through that first stock line. And then we came back for more. That's when we got introduced to the head of the manufacturing plant.
True.
His name's Sandy, and we actually still use him to this day.
That's what's up. It's good that you're looking after local business too.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is trying to send it all overseas and get it back, but
I just don't think that's kind of, it's us. It's not really us. It's not what we're about. Like, they looked after us when we started, so who are we to turn our backs on them now that we're doing okay? It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't.
They took a big risk on us, and they didn't have to. And we're forever grateful for that. Like, it's funny, just on over the weekend, Alex actually asked me to be his best man at his wedding, which is fucking weird.
Tell him congratulations when you see him next.
Yeah.
Fuck. Congratulations, Alex. The wedding's probably already. Oh no, it wouldn't have happened, but congrats, bro. Congrats.
Yeah. So it completely caught me off guard. Anyway, all the manufacturers and all the suppliers are coming to the wedding, which is kind of cool. I thought that was really dope that he's inviting them all.
But that's a real family vibe then.
Yeah, it's sick.
And as you said,
weird.
To be grateful and to be so thankful. Now that you've gotten to the position that you're at, you kind of have to be like, we're going to continue to use you.
Yeah, definitely. And we're still trying to work with them, and there's always ups and downs. There's always challenges. Blah blah blah. I mean, that's life, right? Nothing's easy. If it was easy, everyone's doing it, right?
If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
And we know it's not easy because the fact everyone tries to do it, and they realize this shit ain't easy, and they give up.
Yeah, exactly, right? So anyways, we got introduced to Sandy, and we kept going. We did kind of start getting a bit of a backlog with the orders. So then,
do you mean they were banking up?
Yeah, we were spending so much time producing them rather than out there selling them.
But at this point, you guys
we're still making them
yourselves.
Yeah, we're still making them, right? Like, we're making 30 jumpers a week maybe or something like that. But it was hard keeping up with it. So then we kind of started pre-packaging and pre-making it all, and then farming it out to sewers, to like, I guess you'd say like subcontracted sewers, but really they were just people we found on Gumtree, or whatever, right?
But that's actually really smart.
Yeah. That was the first thing we realized is, like, if we're on the machines making, we can't be selling. And it's funny how that concept today, we're still struggling, but we're still trying to perfect that concept. It's really hard. Like, there's operations and then there's strategy. You want to try and spend as much time on the strategy as you can, because that's what makes the business ultimately the most money. But at the moment, it's always hard not to get dragged into the operations, because, fundamentally we're good at the things we do.
And you enjoy the things that you do, so...
Yeah, exactly, right?
But it comes back to, we can only really wear one hat at a time.
Yeah.
Like, we can...
Well, you can try, but it's pretty hard. Like, and it gets risky, like...
Well, it's hard to split that energy up. And then... Because I've still got one of the hoodies that you guys used to sew. I got one of the all black Anroks. I was going to wear it, but it's full of stains, so I was just like, nah. But, like, you put so much time and energy into that. You didn't have the time and energy to go out and do other things.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's like you just had to focus on the one thing, and that one thing got you so far. And it's a great feeling to be able to now outsource it, try and get help.
Yeah, definitely. So we started outsourcing it. I was at university at this time doing the honours, so the honours thing kind of got serious. And I basically said to my head guy, my core unit, I said to him, his name's Mark Strawn, I still talk to him today. I said to him, like, I need to make this thing about Ichpig somehow. Like, I just can't, I'm going to die. There's not enough hours, like, I'm doing 20 hours at this industry-based learning, doing 20 on Ichpig, and I'm doing 20 at honours as well, plus all the homework as well. So,
plus just trying to have a life, trying to like...
Oh, life didn't exist.
True. We were just grinding.
We were just hustling. We were living off nothing, $50 a week kind of thing. And I remember saying to him, I need to make this thesis thing about Ichpig. And I remember I've actually got the book from when I did it. It's sitting underneath one of my laptops at work. It's it's my sketchbook that has all the questions and stuff. And the question was how does Ichpig gain a cult-like following?
How does Ichpig gain a cult-like following?
Yeah, and that was the basis of that whole year's outcome. And like, so one of the outcomes that came from it was the anorak hood.
The kangaroo pouch,
the double thing, right?
Yep.
That I designed. Oh, how long ago was it now? Must have been 7 years old now, 8 years old maybe.
Yeah. That makes because year 12 for me, which was about 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been about 7 years ago, and so I came up with this design. I did this little sketch, but Alex perfected it. That's kind of, and that's one thing about Alex and I is that we're yin and yang. Like I'm the raw chaos idea, and he's the refining, thoughtful, analytical, calm mind. Like. We're very polar opposites.
Yeah, you bounce off each other.
Yeah, we bounce off each other.
And that's important too, because like you don't want to be overlapping, especially for what you. Well, there's nothing wrong with overlap, but the fact that you can come up with the idea and he can embrace your idea and then just, as you said, fine tune it so it comes out perfect.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I'll come up with this, a 6 or a 7 out of 10 idea, and he'll take it to an 8 or a 9. Like he's uncanny at it. It's nuts.
That's just teamwork, bro, and that's good teamwork.
Yeah, no, it works. It works really, really well. And so we were kind of both refining these hoodies and designing all these hoodies, and basically what we realized eventually was not everyone wanted a custom jumper. Some people just wanted a black hoodie that they could just throw on, and it was a really good hoodie.
Yeah.
So we came up with the anorak hood, and then it started growing, and then finally enough, like. Our dog died, weirdly.
Rest in peace, the man's dog.
Yeah, so Zoe died, and I remember, we were working obviously where we were living,
You're in your basement.
Yeah, in the garage there, and I was living at Dad's, and Alex was living at Mum's, and I remember we basically dug the hole and buried the dog out in the back.
Yeah,
and I remember I said to we're both a bit upset.
You're emotional.
We're crying. I'm not going to lie. We're blubbering.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's your family dog. Like, if you didn't feel the type of way and it passed away, like...
Yeah. So, I remember saying to him, dude, we've got to get out of here. We've got to go do something with this. Life's too short. And so then we started looking for a factory, and we found a factory in Tottenham. It's fucking wild, this story. In Tottenham, in West Footscray.
Yeah.
Like, we looked around. We looked in Yarraville. We looked in Newport. We looked in Williamstown. Where else did we look? Kind of everywhere. We looked everywhere, all up and down kind of the western suburbs.
Melbourne's not cheap either, so it's like...
Yeah, and we weren't making a shitload of money. Like, this is a fucking big leap. This is a big leap of faith. Like, we weren't killing it by any means. Like, we had this process down pat, and... By then, I'd stopped making the beanies as well because the beanies had become too time consuming, and my grandmother was actually making the beanies for us.
Oh, shout out to Grandma.
Yeah, Dot was making them for a very long time. It's funny, she actually was making them right up until about 3 or 4 years ago. To be honest, it's pretty funny. They're epic beanies too. So yeah, we found this factory. I remember we went to this factory, and on the way in, legit, this you can't script this. This is fucked.
Yeah.
The street into it that you turn off the main road off Sunshine Road is Sarah Grove, right?
Sarah Grove.
That's my mum's first name.
Bullshit.
Then the second street you turn into is James Court, which is my dad's first name. How fucked is that? It's uncanny. I remember seeing it and going, hey, Alex, did you see that? Sarah Grove, James Court. This place is it. This is where we're going to end up.
And it had, you had the feeling.
I knew straight away. How can you plan that?
Straight away. You can't.
It's fucked.
No.
It's fucked. It was just uncanny. It was uncanny. And sure enough, we ended up there. We moved in there. And right across the way, like right across the parking lot, was a manufacturer, clothing manufacturer. It was nuts.
So they've just literally set this up for you perfectly.
It was nuts. It was insane. I couldn't believe, and we actually still use them to this day. It's nuts.
So was that the old shop? In
West Footscray off Sunshine Road, near Tottenham Station.
Yeah.
So that's where we, and they were kind of, they basically used to run all our custom manufacturing, and so they do all the tech stuff today. So things like these pants we're wearing,
okay.
all this kind of material and the full suits and the waterproof shit, they do all that.
Well, that's a plug.
Yeah, it's
Seems
crazy.
This is game changing.
Yeah,
this stuff's game changing. This stuff's game changing.
They're probably my favorite pants.
For me. Wait, you know too well. We both skate. Like you need that flexibility, and it needs to be able to air out as well.
Yeah, exactly right. It's good. It's functional, and that's kind of, I guess, where we ended up going was like super functional but looking really good. You know, it's like always that mantra of, yeah, it looks good but it feels better. You know, and if you feel good, you look good, kind of thing. I guess.
Which is facts.
Yeah, and then. So then we kept the custom thing going. We made the ready-mades kind of slowly took off, and eventually it did overtake what we were doing with the custom. The custom stuff just became really hard to manage.
Time-consuming as well.
Time-consuming. It was a really big outlay as well because you had to invest a whole bunch of stock into like the ready-mades. It was kind of like, think of it like as McDonald's, yeah?
Yeah.
Macca's, right? They've got all the parts there. They've got your patty, they've got your buns, they've got your lettuce. They just assemble the parts and they put it together.
Yeah.
That's essentially what we used to do. We'd have a hood, an arm there,
a
hood, a torso, some ribbon cuff, and we just assemble it.
Put it all together.
Assemble it in all the different combinations, and that's how you get the custom aspect.
Yeah.
You know, we'd make a chop here, make a chop there, and change it up a little bit. But eventually what the problem was the outlay of all that stock to begin with became way too much. And also, we figured it just flooded too much. Too many people got their hands on it. It just became too big.
Okay.
And it kind of wrecked it and kind of ruined it. And
it takes away the individuality.
Yeah,
almost.
and then it's kind of a hard one where it's like, you know, you couldn't actually charge enough for what the thing was costing you to make. But then also you couldn't charge enough to slow it down, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It just spread too much and too far, and then
which is a good problem to have. But
it's
then
a good
it's
problem
about
to have.
figuring
But at
out.
the same time, it started tarnishing itself, and it just kind of, I don't know. It just took on something that we couldn't control anymore, and we didn't have the energy to control it either. Yeah. And we were kind of.
When that's that. The minute you realize you don't have the energy to control it, that's when you know something has to change.
Yeah, and like we were so focused on, you know, like at this stage we're like, what are we like? Maybe I'm like 25 and maybe Alex is like 23. And we're starting to make some money, you know? Like, first 2 years, we didn't make a cent. We didn't make anything.
2 years? No, but that's real for the people out there. Like, everyone will look at that on the outside and be like, you boys have been making money since you've been selling those hoodies in falls pretty much.
Yeah, but
that's not reality.
That's this, and people always come up to me and people always say to me, you know, you must be killing it. And yeah, I'm doing pretty well. But like, if you figured out my hourly rate,
I was there when you were talking about this.
If you figured out my hourly rate on when Ichpig actually started, legit, it would be barely $1 an hour. Yeah. Seriously. Like, I've put in that many fucking hours. Like, yeah, I'm getting paid good now, but like back in those days, I wasn't getting paid anything. So it's like, at this stage of kind of like the 4 or 5 year mark, we started to make some money, and it started to come in pretty quick.
But it's probably really needed at the time too. Like you want like 4 or 5 years of being starved almost.
Well, you know, like for two or 3 years, like Alex and I lived off $50 a week. And like, that's it. Like it was nuts. Like we would do all kinds of things. Like there's these crazy stories of me living in as a snowboard instructor, and like one of the things that I learnt was. And Alex actually said this on the weekend when he kind of, you know, we were talking, you know, his partner was there, my partner was there. And we were talking about how my house that I live in now, or that we're renovating or whatever, it didn't have any heating, right? And we found out once we took the plaster off that it didn't have any insulation either. So this place is
Christ.
fucking cold, you know?
That's bad as well.
That's cold. And so, you know, I didn't notice it. I put up with it, you know, like. And my partner, Araha, was saying how she's like, she couldn't stand it. She fucking hated it. It pissed her off so much. But Alex was saying, you just got to understand, Nath is so fucking resilient. He just doesn't, he can get through anything. And those I guess those characteristics of me still stand true today, you know, like, but back then when I was an instructor and it was just myself, man, I remember I went to Canada when I was 19, right? Yep. And this was the first snowboard instructing gig I ever got. ever.
You just got thrown in the deep end straight away.
So the story goes, I did year 12.
Yep.
I promised, I tried really, really, really hard. I wasn't the smartest kid ever.
Yep.
I tried really hard. And I said to myself, if I get in the 90s, I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to be a snowboard instructor. And I'm going to become a snowboard instructor. And I got 90 point whatever it was. I just made it in.
Fuck, that's not bad itself.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, so sure enough, I then decided, well, I'm going to become a snowboard instructor. So I saved my ass off. I think I saved 18 grand in 6 months.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was hustling.
Yeah,
I was
that's
working,
$50 a week. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I remember I was working at Pizza Hut,
Yeah.
and I had this other sales job. I was doing all these jobs, just getting cash, not spending a cent. And then I spent pretty much all of it. I spent about 12 grand on this course, or 7 grand in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that included my instructor's tuition, all my lift passes, bus to and fro the mountains, my accommodation, and then I bought a load of shit over there as well.
Yeah.
New snowboards. I went heli skiing a bit, food.
So you're living a bit too.
Yeah, so I ended up spending about 12 grand or something like that out of the 18. And then I spent another. So then once I passed that and I got my ticket or whatever,
Yep.
I then managed to hook up a job in a little mountain in North Vancouver called Grouse Mountain, which
Okay,
is it's literally, you can see the city from this mountain, and
True.
it's almost like, how would I describe it? It's like the Preston of Melbourne almost kind of thing.
Okay,
It's that
okay.
close.
Yeah.
It has lights till 10 p.m. every night. It was fucking sick. I loved it. Anyways, I got a gig there. So, but when I got there, I'd spent so much money getting home and then getting over there and a few other things that I didn't have much money. I think I only had about, I'm not sure, maybe a grand or two to my name.
True.
And I'm there for
you're going to be there for a while.
for a while.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I had gotten there too early, and I was living in this hostel because I hadn't quite figured out my surroundings, because I'd never been to Vancouver before, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big ass city. And, I'd later figure out that, it's actually quite a wild, scary city. Well, as a 19-year-old, it's pretty confronting, like I'd never
Everything
really seen serious drug use like that before.
True.
Because where I was staying was right on Hastings Street, where, like they have the highest percentage of HIV in the per GTP or whatever.
Snaps. These are facts about Vancouver I didn't know.
Yeah, no, they've got a huge heroin
Okay.
problem. Huge.
True.
That's why that's where all those kind of those injecting rooms and stuff that they have in
Yep.
Richmond. That's
Yep.
all that's come from
Oh, so
Vancouver.
it all came. Okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
all there. That's where that's one of the big places where they do it.
Yeah,
because
that had to be
otherwise-
dealt with first.
Yeah, otherwise they have so many people dying on the streets because there's the whole cold thing as well. Like, it gets really cold there. Yeah, because it snows in the
Vancouver.
city, right?
Fuck.
So you got all
That's too many problems to have in a small place.
It's crazy. So, anyways, I was like, I remember getting there and I was just like, fuck me, this is so over my fucking head. This is nuts. It was so scary. Like, I remember getting there. The first night I rocked up, I walked to the hostel, and this dude was just like, he was just had his head kicked in. I never forget his face. He'd had his face just beaten the fuck in.
Wait, did you see him get it kicked? Like, did you see
Nah,
him
he was
get
just
beat up?
pissing
Oh, you just
blood.
seen him after.
He just had
it.
this big cut across his face, and his eye was black, and he's standing right in front of my hostel door, and he's just like, dude, you got some rock? And I'm like,
Fucking hell.
mate, I said to him, I don't know what the fuck rock is. Get out of my way. And I
Yeah.
just kind of, and I remember running inside and just fucking shutting the door behind me, and I was just fucking freaking out.
That's so fucked. He's like pretty much dead.
I'm
And all he
19.
still wants is some rock.
I was 19. I didn't even know what rock was, to be
Yeah.
honest. And like, I was so shocked and so like, just like, I remember not eating when I got there for almost a week. I was just petrified. Like, I was so
So it really shook you. Well,
I
not
was
like,
so scared because I'd
Yeah.
never really been overseas before, apart from New Zealand.
yeah.
This was my first overseas trip, and I was by myself, and I was 19, and I never lived out of home.
Well, and you were running out of money. So
Yeah,
you're
and I
like,
was running out of money, so it's like, ooh, and it wasn't looking like the snow was going to start anytime soon, which is my employment, right? So there was 2 weeks where there's no snow, so there's no
Yeah.
job, so there's nothing, there's no currency, right?
And like it's almost like you went over there with the perfect plan, got there a little bit early, and just weren't able to do it.
Yeah, exactly, and not to mention like they'd fucked up my visa.
Oh.
So because I didn't have a working visa, I was actually getting sponsored,
Yep.
and they hadn't sorted it out. So on the way in, I actually came into Canada without a visa. And I remember like they grilled me at the airport.
Yeah, they question you hard.
Fuck, man. Like they put me in the immigration thing because like, you know, my ticket was, I was there for 4 months, but I didn't have a working visa. So they were like, well, what are you doing here? You passed the 90 days, but you don't have a visa. And they made me stand in this line. I remember staying in this line for like 3 hours.
Man, immigration, they don't play games.
Well, they made me stay there for ages, and I was freaking out and shit. And, you know, like, so I'd already had a pretty rough experience there. I got questioned. They went to my bank accounts. They asked how much money I had. They questioned me. What am I doing here? And I had to tell them what I was doing.
You have to tell them the truth. You can't lie.
No, I couldn't lie. And
especially not to immigration.
I basically ended up saying, you know, like, you guys have been piss farting me around. You have a look in your system. I've had this visa in the works for 6 months now, and nothing's been sorted.
Yeah.
So I was already pretty shaken up by that, and you know, I'd never dealt with that before. And I remember I was just like, fuck, what am I going to do? You know, like I've got 2 weeks till it looks like there's any snow coming. So I've got no lessons. I've got no employment. And I remember like, I would just go, literally, I'd go up the hill because the hill was still running, right? Like there's a restaurant at the top of the gondola there.
Okay.
So I just got up to the top, and I remember I just be chilling out, kind of hanging around, like just. And then after a while, I started watching all these people, right?
Yeah.
And there's people going to this restaurant, and you know they're North American. They're leaving all this food there.
True.
And I'm hungry as fuck.
My man's is hungry.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry.
I've got to eat.
Yeah.
I have no money.
So you eat.
So I just wait there. I wait for them to walk off, and I go pick their food up off their plate and eat it. Then I got really good at it, and what I started doing was I just stand by the bin. I'd wait for them to come to me.
True, and
so
you're like, I'll take that, bro.
Yeah, I'd wear a black t-shirt and dark clothes, look like I was a busboy. I just say, "Oh, you done with that? Thank you. I'll take care of that." I'd walk off, and I'd get hamburgers, I'd get fucking chips, unopened Gatorades, Mars bars, you name it. I got it. It was sick. And then of course, you know, like, I was this young 19 Bambi-looking motherfucker, you know.
Yeah,
like,
so no one's really going to question it. It's like you
no
probably
one's
do
questioning
work
it,
here.
but then also all the management staff, they're watching me now. They know what I'm doing. They see this kid hanging around this bin doing this shit, right? And, you know, some of the girls are, you know, they felt sorry for me. I guess, like, you know, whatever. They thought I was cute or whatever. They'd come over and start giving me pizzas. It was sick. Like, I remember one
so
night.
you start finessing them as well.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So at the end of the night, when they got to throw all their food out, they just give me these, you know, like, and you know what family-sized pizzas are in North America,
proper.
right? I just go home with one of them.
But 18 slices. That's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 2 days.
Sorted. That's all I needed, right? And that's the kind of resourcefulness that I brought, and it's still in Ichpig today. That kind of, and that's kind of funny how, like, that relentlessness, that hunger, that progression, that, you know, just get it done no matter what, you know, that's what we realized Ichpig was. It would later become, because in year 4 and 5, when we're selling all this stuff to all these different walks of life, you know, skaters, snowboarders, basketball players, musicians, artists, people that go out, people that dance, people that whatever, we didn't know. One of the things that we learned was that if you don't say what you are, you therefore do not say what you are not. That makes sense?
Yeah. So
we didn't know how to say what we were, so therefore we couldn't say what we were not.
Yeah.
And the problem was and this is always a touchy subject, and it's kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, it's a weird thing about the brand, is that I don't give a fuck about who we sell to. I don't really give a shit.
Straight facts.
I don't care. Like, if someone's wearing Ichpig a certain way and it's different to me, then I'm not going to hate on them because they choose to interpret it a different way to me, you know?
Yeah. And keyword, their interpretation. How do you have any control over that?
Yeah, sure. But unfortunately, that's a utopian way of thinking. That's not how the world is. The world doesn't, you know, people in this world don't want to be associated with that person that they don't want to associate with.
Oh, I get you now.
So if person X is wearing it and person Y says, I don't want to be perceived as person X because everyone else perceives me as person X, they stop wearing it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened was like, we didn't know how to define the brand, so we didn't really know how to kind of tell that message. it was really tricky, and we went through a really big growing pain of where we started selling to a lot of people that weren't, you know, I guess you'd say our core.
I get you.
They were kind of the crowd. You know, there's the core, the crew, the crowd. And we started selling, because we'd spread so far now, because, you know, we started off selling rings around us, you know, our friends, and then their friends, and then more friends, and then
all these little niche groups.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what ended up happening, was like, we just spread like wildfire. But then once we spread so far past the crew, we got out to the crowd. And then suddenly the crew and the core are looking at the crowd, thinking, I'm not sure about these people. And it's just a really touchy subject. It's like, how do you fucking explain that?
When this happened.
Yeah, it's like...
It was 2013 and 2000... Wait, because I don't like putting it out there, but I grew up in like a small country town.
Yeah.
And like, there was just it was literally, as you said, just the basketballers, just the skateboarders. And then all of a sudden, you'd see that... I don't want to identify them because I don't want to make anyone feel bad. But you'd see that little kid wearing the hoodie and you were like, you're just wearing that because everyone else is now wearing that.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you tell that kid off? And I'm not about telling that kid off. You know, like for instance, when I go skateboarding in all the suburbs that I go, I get recognized so much. It's
Jerry Seinfeld.
It's fucked, you know. Everyone recognizes me. And they always come up to me, all walks of life. You know, like people that wear really, really tall stuff with skinny pants, or people that are skaters, people that are ballers, people that are snowboarders, people that are scooters, people that are skaters. And I've always got time for them. I don't just fob them off because I'm not about that. Like, they help me build something. Without them, the thing I build is nothing. You know, like, you can be... One of the common misconceptions that people have is that it's all very well and good to be a leader. But being a leader doesn't mean shit if you've got no one following you. You can lead till...
Then what are you leading? Like, what
you're
are you
leading
doing?
nothing.
Yeah, what are you doing?
You're a headless leader. You're kamikaze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the most important person is actually the first person that follows you. They're the most influential because they're the first leader, because they follow you and convince everyone else to come with.
Straight facts. But then, yeah, that's literally the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. But, you know, like, every single person that's gotten around us, you can't hate on them because they've helped me build that skate park in that warehouse. They've helped us get to Brunswick. They've helped us keep manufacturing here in Melbourne. They've helped, you know...
But without them, it would not be like this right now.
And people are always so quick to judge and quick to hate on those people that, you know, maybe they don't see it eye to eye to, or they have different fundamentals or different ideologies or whatever, right? Like, everyone's different, you know, like inner city kids think they're better than Burbs kids, and kids think inner cities kids are snobs, and West Siders think East Side kids are fucking dickheads, and East Side kids think, you know, West Siders are junkies or whatever, you know, like...
It comes from labeling, because, like, people put themselves with a specific group and then they put a label on this specific group. Yeah. And you don't need to do that.
People are so defined by other things and outside circumstances that they forget what actually comes from within, and that's what really defines you.
Yeah.
Is what comes from within.
But then that's your individuality. Like, no one else can take that away from you.
But unfortunately, you know, with certain things, you know, like, I don't know, it's like, well, you know, that's how General Pansco make money, I guess. Not everyone wants to be individual. Some people just, you know, and that's okay, that's fine. And
there's nothing wrong with it as well. No. But then there's a market for them, but that's not your market.
No, it's not necessarily our market. It's just a different market. It's like, if you put General Pansco or you know, whatever, like, they do epic shit. Like, they have cool stuff in there for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not us. Like, if we put Ichpig into General Pansco, it would kill Ichpig. It just would. Sure. It would destroy it. It would destroy everything that's about it, because, you know, it just wouldn't work. The price points wouldn't work. We don't manufacture enough shit. Like, there's so many things that it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with the brand's ethos.
And then it'd kill the individuality to it too.
Yeah, to a degree, for sure. Like,
there's nothing better than, like, you guys, from my perspective, that how there's only X amount, and if you don't cop it, that's gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it doesn't matter how bad that you love something. The fact that you didn't go out and get it, now you have to either pick it up from a resale or just
Yeah.
wait until the next thing comes through.
Yeah, and like it's funny that you say that because like we're actually it's funny, this is an interesting time for us because we're right in the middle of kind of changing some of that thinking where we're still going to be release driven and have releases
Yep.
of limited amounts and limited editions, but then we're going to have a more stable core line that's available.
Like a staple.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if you want to buy a black hoodie from Ichpig, you should be able to buy that.
Yeah.
Like because what's happening is, and it goes back to what I was saying before about the strategy and operations. The problem with how we're running at the moment. So at the moment, I'm not sure if you know, we do 2 drops a week.
Yep.
Which is fucking insane.
Bro, that's like
Like Alex has been doing that for 12 months now.
no other clothing brand can do that.
No one.
They don't even have the creative juice
Not
there
only
to be
does he
able to
have
do
the
that.
creativity to produce that much stuff, he actually has the discipline, the drive, the relentless hunger to produce it. Like he runs production as well. It's nuts. It's crazy. And then on the other end, it forces me to be selling it, to pushing it, to explain it all. Every time something new comes out, I have to explain to everyone, what is this? How do you wear it? What does it go with? What's it for? What's its purpose? You do, like it's not just some worthless piece of crap that we're trying to throw down your throat that
That's
makes
actually
us
somebody's thoughts. It's what somebody's proud of.
This is the purpose of it, kind of thing. This is what you might need it for. So we're trying to make it more so that we kind of can I guess rest on this core line a bit more, keep the releases going, but then it allows us to do more strategy stuff, more cool shit. Right now if a collab comes our way, we don't have the fucking time.
Facts. And I'm sure so many collabs will be trying to come your way as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've got heaps in the works, heaps of opportunities, but fundamentally we're so busy running that if people aren't running at the same pace as us, you can't talk to them because you say something and you're already past them.
Yeah.
You're just running. And we've been running for like 9 years now. It's crazy. It's a long time to be running. And I mean like I've been doing probably, I don't know, on average 8 till 10 o'clock every day for like 9 probably 9 years now, which is a lot of hours. That's heavy. And that takes a toll, like I'm seriously lucky to have a partner that will put up with my bullshit, you know?
But then you're lucky too, because you're not lucky. So you're very fortunate as well that the thing you're doing is something you love.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine anyone else spending like 8 to 10 hours every single day, putting all that time, putting all that effort in, if it wasn't something that they truly loved and actually cared about.
No, and it's funny. I was saying to Jasper's mum just before about how, you got to be hungry. You just got to be. It's such a rare quality in this world. Like people say they're hungry and they're hustlers and shit, but when the gun's at their head, are they really? Like if you got the choice between going home, lounging, or going home after a hard day, or working that extra little bit, or doing that extra little thing, or driving down to Geelong to talk about your brand on a small podcast that maybe is not beneath you, but you know what I mean. Like you guys are at a different level in life to us.
Yeah.
You guys are starting off, and I've kind of been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
But even then, like my hunger
allows you to do that. I get what you're trying to say.
I didn't even think twice. I was just like, fuck yeah, I'm down. Whatever. So what? I have to drive 40 minutes. So what? I'm hungry. So what? I've been literally up since 5 a.m. Like it doesn't matter. And I'm probably going to work on the way home as well. Like I'll be talking to someone or doing something, or I get home and quickly have dinner, and then I'll get back on it and try and make some more money. Like
man, it makes sense because all my life I've known. I was like, Nate is a hustler. Like the way you sell your clothes, it's like standing on a corner just trying to sell anything to anyone. Like it's like you're selling from the boot of your car, but on the internet.
Yep.
Like you are individually in every person's DMs that follows you. You're engaging with them. You talk to them. And
it's different.
But it's because, and I never understood why you did that. But now after you told me the story about how you went to Vancouver, like you've actually starved. Like you've been out there, you allowed yourself. Oh, you didn't allow yourself. You had no other choice. You got fucked around from all these different things trying to achieve the next part of your like dream, but something kept forcing you back. And just because you were forced back, you didn't conform to that. You figured it out. You were like, all right, food's expensive. I don't have much money. Man's is hungry. What am I going to do? I'm going to go where everybody's got the food, and I'm going to wait until I can get mine. There aren't many people that will go out of their way to do something like that.
Well, you know, people won't. It's funny, you know, like I was talking to these.
Just cut through if you need to cut through real quick.
Go for it.
You're all G. Don't stress.
Just taking the light with him.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. True. Yeah, he's sweet. What were you saying, sorry?
I was just saying, so I actually got onto another podcast today.
Today?
Yeah, and then another one kind of contacted me, and they were talking about. So one of their guests they had was Jules Lund.
Jules Lund?
He's that guy from reality TV guy.
I don't even watch TV, so like, but yeah, I get you. Like,
he's a pretty famous guy. Anyway, he created this app called Tribe.
Tribe.
So basically, what it does is it connects influencers with businesses like me.
Okay.
And what the businesses do is they pitch an idea. They say, okay, we want to pay this amount of money for X amount of photos. Go off and show me what you've got. And everyone completes the project, and then you go through and you pick the people that you want to use.
Oh, yeah.
And then you pay them the money, they exchange the photos.
Yeah.
And then that's how it kind of works. It's basically getting you in contact with influencers.
Yeah. But that's what, just to quickly segue it to help people get a better understanding, if you're a musician trying to go for ads, like a big company like Adidas, for example, will shoot a concept to a musician, but they'll send it to 3 different musicians, and they'll take the 3 different interpretations and pick their best one.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same idea.
So what have they come to you and done?
So Jules, this famous guy, he created Tribe, and he was on this podcast. Anyway, I was talking to Tommy, and Tommy was saying how one of the things Jules was saying to someone that he put Jules in contact with was just go through and hit up every single like. Go through and hit up every single... They're customers. They're there. They're liking the shit. Hit them up.
They're people that have already liked your shit.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and I said to him, I've been doing that for 9 years. I've been hitting people up. You know, like, it's funny, you know, like, when we started and we were selling these custom jumpers, right? You get all these people adding the Facebook, right? Because one of the things that we crucially changed was we made Ichpig a personal... It was a Facebook. It was just a normal Facebook page. I remember it. And you could talk on it, right?
That was the only way you could DM, because you couldn't DM a page.
Yeah. The page DM didn't exist then.
Yeah.
Pages didn't have that. It was just likes. So anyways, I remember people would DM the page. Oh, sorry. They would add this friend, this Ichpig thing, right? And after a while, I noticed that people wouldn't really talk. So then I don't, it's so simple. It's so like, I don't know. Every time someone added us, I would say, cheers for the ad. And it's amazing. Like, that sentence must have made us thousands of dollars.
That sentence opens up the door.
It's fucked. Now everyone starts talking to you. You've broken the ice. They're not afraid of you. And you just start talking, and off you go. You lead them down the path. You know, you figure out what they want, you figure out their size, you figure out if they've got the money or when they've got the money.
Yeah.
And then, you make a sale. Or you don't make a sale. You know when to follow up on the sale. And it was just like, it was just crazy. Like, it was just, that simple phrase made so much money.
But then, what's important too, and we're living in this world now where everything's becoming animated, because there'd be pages that'd inbox you and stuff like that. But it's different when you know there's actually someone behind that sending the message. Like Culture Kings, for example.
When you get
like, bro, they're bad. They just flood you every time they've got like a sale on their website. They just flood you with a whole bunch of stuff.
That's a different game again, right?
Yeah,
it's a different game
because they're on a bigger level. Like they can flood and they'll get some people.
Well, you know what they're doing is they're going, well, there's 10 people that are going to receive this message. We reckon we're going to get 3 to 4. So all we need to do is multiply the 10 and we'll multiply the 3 or 4. So if you multiply the 10 by 1,000, then you multiply the 3 or 4 by 1,000. And if there's an average order spend of $150 or whatever it is,
Yep.
that's X amount of dollars. Suddenly, that's what they're thinking, right? They're volume based.
Yep.
They're going, if there's, I always talk about
volume based. Yeah.
I always talk about tiers, right? There's a triangle, right?
Yep.
At the bottom is most people. That's
Yep.
where most people live. And that's where places like, like General Pants and Culture Kings live. They're
Yep.
going for those type of people. People
Yep.
that, are interested in a certain type of clothing style, like
Something that just fits.
something that just fits. Like they're just kind of interested in I guess you'd say, like without sounding derogatory, mainstream streetwear, right?
Yep.
They're interested in brands like, Stussy, Carriere, or whatever that one's called.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
They wear TNs. They're
not trying to stand out from the crowd.
No, they're
which
just
is
happy.
nothing wrong with.
They're just happy wearing what they're wearing, right?
Yep.
And that's where brands like Culture Kings and stuff survive. Then you get up to another tier, and suddenly it's a bit more exclusive, limited releases. Like I don't know. I guess you'd say we're probably in the upper echelon of that tier.
Yep.
There's not as many people fighting it. And then you go up to another tier, and there's like Supreme, there's Bape, there's all these other ones, right? That are super, super, super exclusive and have massive audiences, but like only a limited amount of people can actually get the stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
like, that's funny how the triangle works like that too.
It's like
it
that
trickles
in everything.
down. Yeah.
It's like that in everything.
Everything.
Like, you apply it to snowboarding, you can apply it to skating, like you apply it to golf, whatever.
Apply it to just a general workplace. Like you've got your boss, you've got your manager, and then you've got the person on the floor like out there doing the shit.
There can only be a certain amount of people at the top. That's just how life is. There can only be a certain amount of CEOs. There can only be a certain amount and that's why fundamentally, that's why the Japanese are so successful. That's how they fit all those people in that small little space. Everyone knows their role. It's ant culture. It's derogatory, but it's ant culture. There's worker bees and soldiers.
Yep.
Then there's, the middle tier ones that, take care of the young. Then there's the queen.
Yep.
And everyone knows their spot, and it works harmoniously, and that's what it is.
But because there's not enough space, there's not enough resource, so if they didn't work efficiently...
It wouldn't work. Everyone would be fighting. It'd be a gong show, right? And it's funny, like, that's kind of where Culture Kings sits. Like, it's just a certain type of fashion. It's what it is.
They're fishing almost. They're like, let's just throw out 1,000 rods. We get a few bites. Why not?
That's their game plan.
Yeah.
And that's, it's kind of what some people are about, and it's what some people are not about. And
I guess because it's convenience, isn't it? Like when they slide into your DMs 3 hours early for a sale, you feel somewhat like, they've considered me at least. Even though it's a bot, they're considering me at least. But then, in just how... So the whole point of that was, but it's different when a local clothing brand that you sort of look up to because they're local and they're familiar engages with you, and it's actually a real response.
It is a real response. I mean, sometimes with us, the first message is automated.
Yep.
Because fundamentally, we've gotten to the stage now where there are so many people following us that my brain can't handle it. I can manage...
And I guess I'm talking from the early days too. Like, it'd be a different story
Well,
now.
even now, like, I can manage maybe... I think we figured out I can manage about 500 customers by myself. Just, through memory, and what they buy, what they kind of like,
what they like,
what the size is.
You're able to chunk it,
what their buying habits are, when's the good time to hit them up, what to hit them up with. But, like, we've got more than 500 customers now. It's much more than that. And it's like trying to manage all those people, you need a system, you need something that can manage it or whatever. So, we do have systems in place, but we never send back automated replies. It's always someone real replying. And usually, that person is me. And we are trying to scale that and teach other people how to do that are as knowledgeable and as passionate as I am about the brand, and that have devoted, their lives to the brand,
Which is the hardest thing to look for. Because it's
hard. It's fucked.
You're an individual, to find another individual that puts in that same work, that puts in that same energy for what you want them to do.
But they can't be so hungry and so individual that they want to go and start their own thing.
Because that's what will happen. You'll end up taking them under your wing. You'll show them the way, introduce them to the right people.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's a real balancing act. You got to find. It's hard to put your finger on, and it's one of those things where people are the hardest commodities there are. There's so many variables. There's so many things. There's just so much shit going on. But you can get a sense of someone very quickly after a few sentences, or even how they dress or how they act.
But you're not able to do that without conversation.
No, you can't do that without conversation. You can't do that through a bot. You
No.
can't. Bots are clever and they're smart, but there's only so much they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Bots are clever and smart if they can control the responses that they're giving you and allowing you to answer. They can have a preconceived path. The thing that a bot struggles with is if there's variables.
Yep.
If a bot gives you a question of, what color is the sky?
Yep.
It's either blue or not blue. But if the bot asks you, how does the sky look today? It doesn't know
it's too open.
It doesn't know what to do. And that's kind of what we do is we ask the first question as a bot, you say, how does the sky look today? Or, hey man, I just got this in. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
You come back, talk to us, and then we start talking to you.
Yeah.
But trying to do that all manually, it'd
be so time consuming.
It's too hard.
And then not only that, as you said, you go the bot approach so you can get it out there to everyone. Because at the same time,
you can manage it to the right people. Like for instance, with you, I know you like tall stuff because you're tall. You like certain colorways. You like certain items. So if a certain item in a certain size and whatever becomes available and it's a discounted price, you want to know about it.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I tick all the boxes so that it gets to you and it doesn't send to Liam he doesn't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
It's wasted on him. You know what I mean?
I getcha.
So that's kind of where that's one of the big projects that I've been working on the last 12 months is basically converting my brain into a computer system and teaching a computer and a couple of pieces of software that talk to each other how to act like me.
Yeah.
And maximize what I'm really good at so that it makes me more efficient. It makes me be able to do what used to take me 8 hours, now 3 hours.
Yeah. But then those 5 hours of the day allows you to do anything else.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the millions of other things that I got to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then all the millions of other things that you can't automate. So it's like if you can automate just one component and it saves 5 hours, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. Like me and Alex today, we're talking about this new hat supplier he's found. We found a supplier in Japan that's going to make hats for us, which is sick because, it's going to give us a lot of options that we didn't necessarily have available for.
True.
Headwear's one of those tough ones.
It is a tough one.
It's really hard to get good manufacturing that's done ethically.
Yeah.
A lot of it's done, obviously, in places like Vietnam and Bangladesh and blah, blah, blah. So,
do you try to avoid that, just on a side note?
Yeah.
So if a manufacturer is not operating ethically, you will steer away?
Fuck yeah, of course.
Bro, that's real too. Because anyone else, especially starting out, and especially through your hunger stages, the easier option would have been to go and get all your hoodies made in China for the low.
The easier option would have been, you make a product, it takes off, you take it to China, you get it in department stores, and you cash out. That's the easy way. But it's not authentic. It's in my eyes, it's kind of bullshit. It's chasing the money. It's just you're just another brand.
And then, bro, it's not as fun. Like, it's a different story when you've got a private skate park in your shop, and when it rains outside, you can post something on the story saying, "Who trying to skate?"
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool, like being able to. I guess that's what makes us special is that because we are successful and we sell direct to the customer with no middleman. Obviously, the profits are pretty good. We have to work hard for it, but the profits are good when you do get them. And it allows us to spend, $20K on a skate park because that's how much that thing cost. Like,
true.
Yeah,
there's
$20K worth of timber in there.
We had to do some of the maintenance and stuff for like where we are because I just don't want to go into it, but because we're like 3220 representative of the whole thing. Mate, we've had to do skate park maintenance and stuff, and that shit's not cheap.
Wow.
We had a coping rip off the Buy on Head skate park.
Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive stuff.
Well, not only that, you have to find the specialist. Unless you're doing it yourselves, like...
Well, lucky for me, one of the things about me is, like, because I am...
You're good with your hands. I've seen you on the tools.
Yeah, no,
I've seen you on the tools.
I've done it all myself. Well, not all myself. Like, my friends helped us out. Like, the community around Ichpig really helped us out. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get it done at all without them helping. But, yeah, I designed the park, and I spent a fair few hours by myself screwing those ramps down myself. Just going through the sheets, bang, 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 then doing another sheet, then doing another sheet, another line. But, like, one thing that does happen is, along the way, you kind of collect. My girlfriend always calls them services.
True.
But, really, it's kind of like you just get these guys, like I got a steel guy now. I got a metal guy. I got a wood guy. I got a guy that helps me with IT. I got a guy that helps me with plumbing, an aircon guy now.
Yeah.
I got a guy that can get me on a podcast. I got a guy that can...
But that's resourcefulness.
Yeah, resourcefulness. It's and you kind of... You pick them up along the way.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we've been very fortunate with is that we've got a lot of those types of people that just get shit done around us. So you can call on them whenever you need and, it kind of helps you get shit done.
But then it's two ways as well for the people at home. He's just not a man out here just like trying to poach individuals to like help himself grow. You return it back. Like, I'm sure that same steel man, he's probably been wearing your clothes forever.
Yeah, he does. And
Then,
he gets 50% off for life because Sean's a legend and he built that basketball ring for free, He fucking welded a shitload of stuff for us for free. And then his boss, Tim, who's a fucking legend, hooked me up with one of his supply contacts for getting something rolled because fuck knows how we didn't know how to make a curved bit of coping and a curved ledge.
Like,
we didn't know how to do that.
How do you make ply? Like,
oh, that shit we figured out. That was okay, but like the curved ledge, the welding, the sheet metal, all that stuff. Like fuck, we didn't know how to do any of that. He, Sean just hooked it up. He told me what had to be done. I went and talked to Tim. He gave me the supplier. I went to them. I talked to them. Like I think Tim ended up just putting it on his account, and he didn't even ask money for it. It's fucked. Because one night, I remember one night it's weird. Like Tim runs this big steel like fabrications company. Like it's pretty legit, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were just talking about stuff. Like I was just saying, how our structure operates, and I was talking to him about, different things that you can do to help maximize the business. And, like I'm in clothing and, he's still the same age as me, but, we're in two different industries, but I can talk to him about the same types of things because he understands what I go through. Fundamentally, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay people, you have to pay superannuation, you go claim stuff, there's GST, right?
Yeah.
So those things are across the board. And so I was just talking to him about little strategy and little things that we do. And like, we must have been speaking for a couple of hours about shit, just figuring it out and stuff. And yeah, it's just crazy how like you meet so many people along the way.
But you know what's funny about that? And I've only really, I guess I've sort of noticed it, but I've only really started to notice it now that I've started doing this.
Yeah.
When it's something that you're truly passionate about and you care about, people are willing to help you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's almost like that they see that you really, really want to do this, and they're just like, well, you've helped me out along the way. It's like, if there's a little thing that I can somehow help with, I will help with that.
It's funny, when we first started Ichpig, I remember I would only ever wear Ichpig, and still to this day, obviously, I only wear Ichpig, right? But I'd always say, like, if I'm not wearing it, who else is gonna? If I'm not wearing my own shit, why would you wear it? If I don't believe in it, why would you believe in it? It's the same thing. It's the same concept. It's like, that's why I only ever wear it head to toe. I don't wear anything else because if I was wearing other things, what would that say about me? Like,
it takes it away because you wouldn't have Jerry Seinfeld over here in a champion hoodie and be at a skate park.
No, it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, for starters, I wouldn't want to wear anything else. But like, yeah, it's not authentic, and that's one of the whatever you think about us. I mean, you can't argue that we're authentic. We're still making it here in Melbourne. I'm still giving time to whoever needs it. to the best that I can. I still talk to people personally, you know, like we haven't sold out despite what people think. Like,
And I see it all the time. People are like, oh, can you bring the prices down? Rah, rah, rah. You're unable to do all of that because you stayed true.
yeah,
Because you stay with local manufacturers. Because you stay getting local resources.
it's funny, you know, right? And I say this all the time, those people that ask for prices to be dropped, right? Those are the same people that will be the first to complain when they lose their job. Because where do you think their job goes? You can't have it both ways.
Nope.
You can't keep your job getting paid $25 an hour and expect shit cheap. It's like you can't have
It's not going to work.
You can't bake your cake and have the first slice. It's one or the other. It's give or take. And like a lot of people in this world don't understand that concept. They don't get it. They don't get that, you know, like fundamentally, yeah, our jumper costs the same as a Nike jumper or whatever. But like, fuck.
It's like how many people have that Nike jumper?
Well, not in that. It's incomparable. One's made by someone at $2 a day and one's made by someone getting paid $25-$30 an hour. Like, how long do you think a jumper takes to make? There's, you know, X amount of meters of fabric, which is made here as well. And then there's, you know, pockets, there's stitching, there's
Bro, that's
laying it up.
time and energy.
It's time and energy. It's like in a lot of instances, our raw manufacturing cost for a hoodie is the same as like, you know, what a store buys it for or sells it for. You know, it's fucked. It doesn't make sense.
And then that would just mean through that whole process that you want to go through, why would you then like ruin it in a sense by putting it, like making your clothes available in Kmart? Why would you make them available in Myer?
But again, it's not us. It's like it's not what we're about. It's not our market, and that's fine. Like some people think I'm a dickhead and think I'm a twat for saying that, and
fuck them. Like,
fuck them.
You've got all these other people that are saying otherwise. It's like
and again, it's like those people are not my audience. They're not my people. They're not who I'm trying to talk to. Don't get me wrong, I'll try and convince him and I'll try and prove my point because, you know, I think fundamentally what we're doing is ethically right. Like, I think if you want to ask the question of how do I make a jumper in this country, someone should be able to answer that.
Someone should.
But, you know, if you keep going overseas, then no one can answer that.
And then if we keep going overseas and there's no jumpers being made in this country, what happens to the country?
Well, and also it's that whole thing about, you know, what happens when a country turns around and says, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm not working for $2 a day anymore. What happens then?
Bro.
Which is what's already happening. Why do you think? That's why all these companies keep skipping countries because the countries get enough power and enough monopoly to say, well, shit, you guys should be paying us more. It's pretty philosophical and pretty, you know, deep.
Go there.
But when you think about it, the whole world runs off exploitation.
Bro.
The whole thing, the whole system's run off it. It's nuts. And it's like, it's real like, you know, like doomsday rage against the machine. Fuck the world. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. But it's the truth. It's like the whole thing runs off it.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, no business can make money. Well, sorry. There's a lot of businesses could, but there is a lot of businesses that would not be able to function and support a lot of the shit that goes on in this world if people ask for more than $2 a day. And no one sees it. It's nuts.
And you know,
they don't get it.
And I've just learned about this recently. But you know about Somali pirates?
Yeah.
So pirates on the coast of Africa and like in Somalia.
Yeah. That's that movie with Tom Hanks. What was that? What was that called? Yeah, that one.
Yeah. But Somali pirates exist because they're fishermen. So because the government and stuff over in Africa isn't the best, big corporations like from the West are able to get these big fuck off fishing ships that will literally go to Somalia, catch all the fish in one swoop, and then just fuck off again and go sell all the profits. And so it's not until the Somalians got upset at that and then started having to police their own like ocean because their governments aren't willing to do it. Like, how it blows my mind that just because you're a big corporation from somewhere and you can exploit someone who's struggling, and then when you find retaliation, then like you create a negative story almost to portray them.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's like that whole time you're the one like the whole time the big corporation was the wrongdoer.
Yeah, it's like you hear things about, and whether they're true or not, but you hear murmurs about like things like people like Google in this country, they only pay 10 cents on the dollar in tax. Like, how nuts is that? Think how much money they're making.
And
It's crazy.
what we got to think, who does that affect? So if Google's making all this money and getting away with paying fuck all in tax, it's the people like me and you that get ruined every tax time.
Yeah.
And we're like, why can't we stay ahead? And you're just like, oh, because there's other people that have figured it out that are really winning, making us the losers.
They got the money. They got the money to make it so, you know. They've got the money to have those lawyers on huge retainers and stuff like that.
But it's all resourcing, and we just got to get better with ours.
Yep. Yeah, probably.
But that for everyone, like, and we live in a world that's not completely equal. And if it's not equal, you got to go and get yours, by any means.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, at what cost do you get yours? You know, does it?
There's always a cost. It's how bad do you want it? It's like, if this is something you really want, are you willing to deal with whatever it takes to go and get that?
Yeah, can you live with it? You know, like, can your conscience deal with the cost that you're gonna incur to get whatever it is that you want? Yeah. And you know, one thing that, you know, we have learnt now, and you know, we're pretty accepting of, is you can't please everyone. You just can't. You got to learn. You got to learn that. I remember when we first started doing our first samples for the ready-made stuff. I remember we were making these crazy fucking grades. So what I mean by grades is way clothing works is you make a sample to a certain size. So usually so most of our clothes are made to fit me, right? I'm our perfect large, we call it. Which is handy because, you know, I work there.
You get to wear it.
You know, I'm
you
there.
get all the benefits.
I'm there every day. So what you do is you figure out your large, and then you figure out, based off your large or your sample size, whatever that is, how far off is the next size from that, and the next size again, and that's called grading.
True.
So you figure out how much shorter is the garment going to get, how much wider is it going to get, how much does the sleeve change, how much does the arm change, how much does the armpit change. All the parts that make the garment proportionately bigger or smaller, you figure out how much it's going to change. 0.1, 0.2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 5, whatever, right? And there's all these rules and standards, right? So we've learnt that all on the fly.
Yeah.
So anyways, when we were first doing this, we were trying to, you know, we were talking about, you know, what happens if someone your size buys it? What happens then? You know, what if they buy the XXL? We want it to fit them really, really good. But then what happens if someone like, was it Vince, his name?
Yeah, Boom. Yeah.
Boom. What happens if Boom buys it? You guys are both like double or triple XL, but when you look at you two, you're completely different. How do you design something that hits both of you? And the manufacturer, Sandy, said, you can't.
True.
You can't, you fucking idiots. Like, he kept yelling at us. And we were like, no.
You can.
You just fucking do this. You just increase this by this and increase by that and do this and do that. And slowly but surely, we figured out that you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't you got to pick who's your market, or you got to make a different line, or you got to do a different thing, or you got to make a different fit or a different style. And you just learn that over time. It's so funny how that lesson applies to so many different things.
It applies to everything.
It's crazy. You can't please everyone. You really can't. You got to be okay with that, and you got to be thankful for that. And like, yeah, it's been a really, and like I said, to this day, I'm a bit more accepting of it. You know, like, there's always going to be people that hate on you and I guess are naysayers, right?
Yeah.
But like, if you don't have them, fuck, what are you doing anyway? Like, if you don't have haters, you're not doing nothing.
You're not doing something like, yeah, so true. And then none of that, if someone's hating, you're doing something to evoke an emotion in someone else.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're on the money. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, it's so funny the other day, like, we got ripped on by, have you guys seen that page? It's called, what's it called? Good Morning Except this person, this group or something.
True?
Yeah, it's called Good Morning Except You. I think that's what it's called. Anyway,
That's fucked up.
Oh, it's pretty gags. It's pretty good troll, to be honest. Anyway, of course they did. Good morning, except everyone wearing an Ichpig jumper. or something like that. And I just like, and of course I got a few comments on it. A lot of our customers were commenting on it. And then of course, sure enough, invariably one of them comments and tags me.
Yep.
So then it's like, oh fuck, what do I do
Now
here?
I have to say something.
I thought it was pretty funny, and I thought, like, you know, good on them for, you know, exploiting Facebook and getting some kind of, you know, user-driven traffic out of it. And like, I just thought, you know, fuck, this is good or bad. It's still traffic. It's still people talking about it. It's still all these people sticking up for us. Anyway, I remember, I saw it. I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I was like, you know, I was thinking to myself, yeah, thanks for talking about us, guys, because, you know, I've been looking for an opportunity to just talk about us a bit more. So I went and stood on the racks and I filmed the skate park, and I said something like, you know, hey guys, cheers for the free advertising. You know, I actually need a bit more money to fund another feature. So thanks for that. You really helped out. And it just started getting likes.
Bro, you won.
It was so sick. But it's like, it's one of those things where like, I accepted that, you know, good or bad publicity, we got some, you know, there's going to be haters, and like, and in a way you're thankful for the haters, because then all these people start sticking up for you, and you're just like,
and that's when you know you've got some real ones.
Oh, it's like, you know, thanks for getting those guys riled up, because they're obviously passionate about us. They obviously believe what we're doing.
Yeah. And
you kind of, and it's sick how they fight your battle for you, you know, like they've, you know, tell them they're dickheads, or they can't afford it, or they're jealous, or they're wankers, or whatever.
Then Nate, Google searches of Ichpig hoodies. Go straight up after that. So you're just like, thank you. No,
it's funny though.
No, you need the haters. They pay the bills sometimes. Because it's a view. And in this day and age, we get paid per view. So if you're hating, but you're still viewing my shit, thank you.
Yeah, exactly right.
All right. One question though that I like to ask everyone, and I feel like you'd be a great man to ask this too.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you wish you were told as a youth?
I think for me, it's I hate this sentiment, but it is true. It's not necessarily, unfortunately, in this world now, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Facts.
But
why?
This world's so crowded. It's so overhyped. It's so noisy. It's so like, if you have the ability to get your message out there, I feel that's harder to develop than the message itself, in a way. It sounds really weird and sounds kind of, in a way, inauthentic. And probably it goes against everything that I've said on this pod. But it is true. I think at a young age, when we started this, I really wish I had spent more time investing in networking and getting us out there more. And I guess and this could be just because of what we're going through right now and where we are right now, and this is just the in topic at the moment. But we've been talking about lately about how marketing's about doing good shit, but then also talking about the good shit, making everyone know that you've done the good shit. And that's kind of like, it's that selfie kind of, it's not real if it's not on Instagram kind of notion, which I fucking hate. And to be honest, if Ichpig didn't exist, I really wouldn't have a phone at all. I wouldn't be on Facebook. I wouldn't be on Instagram at all, just because of there's so much crap and fakeness out there.
But there's so much. It makes it hard for the real messages to get through.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, people putting out good messages and good things and things that are helpful and constructive get drowned out by these people that are just self-absorbed and insecure and just, you know,
trolling.
Trolling.
At the end of the day, like, that's all they're doing.
But, you know, like, you know, I can't sit on my high horse, you know, because I go on Instagram and try and sell shit as well, right? Yeah. Like, I'm on there posting about jumpers that we're about to release, trying to raise money and all that kind of shit. But I like to think that it's actually for a greater good, you know.
But then for you, it's a business. You're not just on the internet taking the piss out of anyone that's going to respond.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, like, people could easily lump me in and say, you're just another guy putting a whole bunch of crap into this materialistic world that doesn't need to be there.
But fuck him, at least it's good crap.
Yeah, at least it's good crap, and it stands for something, you know, like it's ethical. It's you know, we're trying to create an opportunity and a community for people that are relentless in their progression. You know, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give, you know, like if we were big enough, I'd love to give you guys your own platform to run a podcast for us. You know,
maybe one day the next one we'll come down and we'll switch it again. We'll
That'd
talk
be-
to your youth. Your youth. If there's one thing that I can say about admire all the work that you do, it's that when you've clocked off for the day, you don't clock off for the day. You open up the park, and then all of a sudden you expose all these people that didn't have access to this sort of opportunity, the opportunity to do so. And you do that so unselfishly. You're just like, if I'm skating, why can't all these people be skating as well?
well, you know, it's just about giving opportunities, and it's like, again, I was talking to Jasper's mum, and Jasper's gonna hate that I'm saying this about how I was talking to his mum and shit. God, fuck.
Well, but at least you've seen it come into existence. He was there when I was talking about it. Now he's just gonna be like,
you know, like
now
I
you
was
put us
saying,
both on.
I was saying to her how like I see a lot of myself in Jasper, right? And like, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like Jasper, and they're like me. Like at a young age, I was like Jasper, and it's like, I don't know, like I just wish there was someone that could connect with me on the issues that I was dealing with and help me through them, and that actually gave a fuck, and maybe didn't give me the answers, but helped me find the answers and reassured me that I was on a path that would lead to answers. Maybe it wasn't the answer that I was after or the answer that I was going to end up with, but, you know, someone just kind of saying, you know, you can do this, this is possible. Maybe don't try it this way or try it that way, or give both options a go, and don't be so hard on yourself if they fail or whatever, right?
And you're correct. But with all of that, we spoke about this last week, which is so funny to me. But if no one's there to help you with all of that, you have to believe and trust yourself.
Yeah, you got to be super strong, and you got to be.
like-
well, I mean,
You have to come up with all that for your own though, because
or you lean on. I mean, I was lucky. I had
Yeah.
Alex.
yeah,
You know, Alex. It was so lucky that, you know, Alex was yin and yang to me. You know, like everything that I was deficient in, he was really strong at, and everything he's deficient in, I'm really strong at, and we could lean on each other. And there was always that. I guess, like, you know,
it's just
when
teamwork.
when we would be doing shit or things would be going crap, I know there was always someone there going through it with me.
Yeah,
Every piece, every knife that I would feel, he would feel. Every high he would feel, I would feel. It's like one of those things. It's like running your own thing, you know. Like the highs are fucking sick. They're so good, but the lows are fucking so crushing. It's not even funny.
but
Like,
they need to be like that. Otherwise, the high won't be as great as what
Yeah.
we thought. Without the lows being the rock fucking bottom.
yeah, and that's the thing. Is kind of like I'm very like that, and Alex is much more flatter, and that's what makes us great. Is, you know, I can kind of bring him up when he's kind of not at his highest, and
Yep.
you know, like kind of vice versa. It always works like that. But yeah, like definitely, I wish I had to put more time and effort into cultivating relationships and getting our message out there. We were a little bit, I guess you'd say, stubborn. We were a bit like, fuck the world. We don't need your help. We're going to do this and we're going to prove it. And then when we kind of did prove it and did do it, and we kind of haven't really gotten much media notoriety, or we
Not
haven't
yet.
gotten not yet. We haven't gotten a heap of, I guess you'd say, our core audience and the people that know what's up really like, I guess, really like us, and they really look up to us. But outside of that, the people looking in onto what we are, I don't think they really understand what we are and what we're trying to create. And that's a shame, because what we're doing is really dope and it's really sick, and not many people are doing what we're doing.
No, it's a shame, but at the same time, you're already well ahead of the curve. You know what's next. You're doing stuff like this. You've got many more things to do.
Yeah.
The people will eventually understand, and when they understand, you'll be like, "I told you."
Well, now I've figured it out, and I haven't figured it out, but now I realize what I've got to do. I've kind of on this path to kind of make sure I'm not just, you know, in operations. I'm not just trying to sell and hustle and make money and survive and keep the workers fed. I'm trying to do strategy stuff. I'm trying to do brand message stuff. I'm trying to give us a voice. I'm trying to give people something to follow.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just clothes. It's more than clothes. It's about the message. It's about, you know, the relentless progression, the hunger.
The reason for doing.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever it is, if you're relentlessly progressing and chasing that, then, you know, whether that's, you know, getting your jump shot better or landing a skate trick or, you know, starting a podcast from the ground up.
Just doing something you want to do.
Yeah, you're our people. You get us. Because you will invariably go through what we've gone through, and, you know, push comes to shove, you will get there. You'll do what it takes.
For sure. Man, Nate, and Adam, I just couldn't thank you anymore for coming.
Oh, that's all good. I hope so.
I couldn't thank you anymore for making the journey. I couldn't thank you anymore for coming in and sharing your experiences.
Yeah.
But man, I just wish you all the best in the future.
Thanks,
and I
man.
hope that keep the youth around because they want to be around. And if you keep opening that door, one of them will have the next idea that you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, but tell all the people where they can find you. I'm just getting funny looks from everyone. I think they're all worried about the length of everything.
Really?
Yeah.
We've been talking
we've been
too
chatting
long?
for a minute.
I knew we would.
Yeah, oh, man. I come down to your shop and I get stuck there. And then none of that, you will leave, then I get stuck with AJ.
You and me are flappers.
We are flappers. But guess what?
I think this is going to have to be a two-parter.
Wait, tell you what, you made the effort this time. It's a bit of shit. I'll bring the youth. We'll somehow finish. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
definitely.
But tell them where they can find you.
www.ichpig.com, Instagram, ICHPIG. Yeah, there's heaps of things around, and hopefully, I'm sure this pod will be on there at some stage.
It will. Soon. Well, by the time they're all watching this, it's game over. It's game over.
They've
And this is
blown
number
up.
3.
They've
Oh, I
blown
don't
up.
know about that, but shit, we'll see what happens.
I'll be happy to get my publicist to book you guys.
Shit.
If I have a publicist.
No, but then my lane's always open for you. And we've spoken about a lot of other stuff that we could potentially do
Definitely.
off camera. If you need any of that, hit me up.
For sure.
Not bothered at all. It's a 40-minute drive. You've made it for me. You allow me to do stuff forever. Liam, wrap that shit up. Thank you, though, brother.